Hey there, tennis fans. I'm Grace Carter, and this is Tennis Now, presented by Tennis Express. Tennis Express, order today and it ships today. Novak Djokovic won his court battle to stay in Australia and play the Australian Open. So it seems his way is clear. However, there is a bit of a catch. The government threatened to cancel his visa again. Apparently, the Minister for Immigration, Citizenship, Migrant Services, and Multicultural Affairs could exercise his personal power of cancellation. All we've heard about that so far is that the minister is currently considering the matter and the process is ongoing. So the tug of war continues. Today, Federal Circuit Court Judge Anthony Kelly reinstated Novak's visa and ordered the government to release Djokovic from immigration detention immediately. But now some other government official could choose to cancel Novak's visa. If that actually happens, Novak would not only miss this month's Australian Open, he could be banned from Australia for 3 years. Novak celebrated his visa victory with this shot of his team on court at Melbourne Park, declaring his desire to compete, saying that despite everything that's happened, he wants to stay and compete at the Australian Open and remain focused on just that. The Australian Open draw is set for later this week, which puts the 9-time champion in a race for time. And his fate is in the hands of that immigration minister. Even if he is permitted to play, will he be ready? He hasn't played a match since Davis Cup last month and obviously hasn't been practicing because he's been in detention. Could that lack of match play, physical and emotional stress, affect what happens in Australia? And what about a possibly antagonistic AO crowd who may be angry he's getting to play at all since he's unvaccinated? Stakes are pretty high and Novak's fans are speaking out. They are angry that he was held for 7 hours at the airport and then put into detention. Transcripts from that long airport interview show that Djokovic was promised by his interviewer he could call Tennis Australia officials at 8 a.m. to support his medical exemption. Instead, however, at 7:42 that morning, his visa was canceled. Transcripts reveal that Novak himself was very confused over who exactly issued his medical exemption. Initially, he said the federal government approved it, but after checking documents, he realized that that wasn't the case and noted that his agent had been communicating entirely with Tennis Australia, and it was the independent panel that approved his exemption. Novak admitted he mistakenly thought the federal government gave approval, but that wasn't the case. The court noted that Djokovic was given just 20 minutes to produce additional supporting information during that early morning interview, and shortly thereafter, he was placed in detention. In his ruling to reinstate Novak's visa, Judge Kelly said, "The point I'm somewhat agitated about is what more could this man have done? He followed all the government guidelines." The government countered, arguing admitting an unvaccinated Djokovic to the nation poses a greater risk of health problems and spreading COVID-19, which would then further burden Australia's health system. Now, in case you missed our last video on this case, Novak, who is unvaccinated, tested positive for COVID on December 16th. So at this point, according to studies, he has strong natural immunity. Tennis Australia's lead doctor approved the medical exemption for Novak on December 30th on the grounds that he had already recovered from coronavirus. That December 16th positive test was actually Djokovic's second time contracting the coronavirus. You'll remember he first caught the virus back in June of 2020. A lot of layers to a very complex, controversial, and highly charged international story that is still developing. Critics say this chaos all stems from Novak trying to get around the rules, but supporters say the medical exemption is allowed in the rules, so he's actually following the rules. That instead, the problem was caused by Tennis Australia for not having the right information from the government. So, what happens in this case next, and what should happen in your view? Sound off in the comment section, and we'll see you next time.